1. Let's go. Hello, world, and welcome to another episode of the Ithaca Drug Users Union Power Hour. A lot of stuff to discuss this week, a lot of happenings, things going on, shout-outs to make, points to make, and I'm here, of course, with my fellow co-host, Mr. A.C. Sidle.
Hello, everybody out there in TV land. How the hell are you today? So here we are.
I did that in church once, right? I went up to the, whatever did you call it, right? And looked into the mic, and I was like, I didn't know what to say, you know? I had to say something. I said, "Welcome to TV land, everybody." That's like the American thing to do.
I'm surprised the roof didn't cave in, you being inside of a church.
No way, man. God has my back.
He does.
You should know this, right?
You are blessed.
Otherwise, how am I still here, huh?
It is a miracle.
It certainly is.
It's a dirty Jesus miracle.
Wow. Don't even know what to say to that. Let's move on. All right. One of the things we want to discuss this week right off the bat is why are people still being discharged from medication-assisted programs, i.e. methadone or Suboxone, right, for dirty urines, for positive urine screens, when the new OASIS regulations clearly state that you are not to be kicked off of MAT treatment if you have positive screens. You know, like, I think this goes back to what some people view success in treatment as and how others of us who are sane view treatment, success in treatment as, right?
Right. Well, you know, it goes back to, like, the people that get on these programs are pretty much going to say whatever, sign whatever, you know, to get on the program.
They're in a desperate situation.
And they are. They are in a desperate situation. And even though OASIS has changed the guidelines, it sounds to me like
They changed the regulations.
You're right. It sounds to me like, you know, people are using end-arounds with, well, we want you to go inpatient, and you're refusing to do that, so you're not participating in your treatment.
Yep.
But at the same time, it's those people that are still holding on to the more older traditional treatment styles.
Abstinence-based treatment.
You know, when people are receiving medicated-assisted treatment, right, it's pretty much been determined that they're going to use it at some point.
Right.
For the most part.
Well, you know, I think that some people live in this fantasy world, kind of, to me anyway, and they don't mean any harm. Like, I will say, like, a lot of the counselors, a lot of the doctors that work at these places mean the best, but they just have this old idea in their head that, you know, abstinence is the only valid treatment, and that methadone or Suboxone or buprenorphine are somehow like abstinence-based treatment, when really, like you kind of said, right?
Yeah.
Those methadone is one of the strongest opioids ever created.
Yeah, it is.
Methadone is for people who could not remain abstinent.
Yeah.
Right? So,
well, the whole idea is to just fill your receptors so full of methadone that to use heroin would be worthless.
right, it blocks it out.
Yeah. One of the things that happens unintentionally maybe is that people that get off of methadone have these capacities for gigantic habits. You know, I know that before I got on methadone, the most bags of heroin I ever did was 2 bags at once. And then after I started methadone, I could do half-gram shots of tar.
Right.
But at the same token, these a lot of the people that are in Medicaid-assisted treatments are also on public assistance, Medicaid, and other insurances. And the bureaucrats that are further up in the system are pushing back, saying we're not going to pay for this person's methadone if they're still going to get high. You know, and it comes down to bureaucratic end arounds.
It comes down to me, right? Like people that say, well, we're not going to pay for this. We're not going to do this for this person if they're still getting high or using, right? It comes back to like, what are we viewing success as? Who told the people at Medicaid that, you know, people should be discharged off of like methadone or buprenorphine, Suboxone if they're still using? Because the evidence says completely the opposite, right? And let's ask right now, what do you like success, right? So let's take for an example. We have somebody, right, recently just discharged from the clinic, right? This is a woman, been homeless for years. Has been out on the street and tricking for years, right? Mm-hmm. Hasn't had a job for years. Got on methadone, right? Got a job, stopped running the streets, stopped tricking, right? No longer homeless. Still using. To me, that is like a success story, a wildly successful story. In fact, she only started methadone in January.
So she's been able to do things on methadone that she wasn't able to do while she was using.
Right.
And that in itself is great. But you heard the woman from DSS herself. I mean, the interpretation of the Medicaid guidelines is due to the reader.
That's true.
And so
the regulations can be interpreted.
You've got unseen people at both ends pushing the abstinence-based therapy because that's what everybody's taught.
Right.
You know, and until people actually get involved and get around it and try the treatment, do they realize that this harm reduction method is much more effective?
Right, and you know what? It actually, in the new regulations, they are pushing harm reduction. Like, this stuff is now, it's kind of, you know, like things are changing after years of being a certain way, and I guess there's bumps in the road. But for me to see this person being discharged it's killing me, you know? And that goes on, you know, what happens to people? What happens to these people when they get discharged and they're no longer getting treatment? Like this person is already,
the capacity for a gigantic habit is there.
She's right. Tolerance is low. Chance of overdose skyrockets. Right.
Yeah.
1 out of 10 people kicked off at MAT have overdosed and died since this epidemic began. This girl, tricking, like doing what she has to do to survive because now she's desperately sick. Right. And what happens in the end run? Right. We have some of our friends who we're going to give a shout out to right now, who have passed away. You know, we don't use last names. We don't want to disrespect anybody. But Ann and T, God bless you.
God bless you, Ann.
We miss you.
Shout out to your husband as well.
Yep. You know, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that you were discouraged from treatment. From people trying to insist you had to be abstinent. I'm sorry. I'm just. God bless you,
man.
You know, shout out to Rob, a friend of ours, husband of a dear friend of ours, who passed away not from an overdose, but from complications from other stuff, other things. You know. Shout out to Bobby, right?
Bobby and his significant other and his kids.
Yes.
Shout out to them.
Shout out to some of our people who have been incarcerated due to these crazy drug laws.
Because locking up people for using drugs is a hate crime.
That's right. It is a hate crime,
it's
right?
A hate crime.
You know, discouraged from treatment because, you know, they just don't. They're not an abstinence-based person, so they don't deserve the best quality of life possible.
No.
If you don't want to be clean, quote unquote, you don't deserve a good life.
No.
I guess not, right?
No.
To hell with that. You know, like, and
But if you pay taxes, we'll accept it.
And that's why we're here. The Ithaca Drug Users Union is here to meet people where they're at, We're going to meet our brothers and sisters, whether they're clean, not clean, whatever their deal is, current or former drug users, because we want them to come re-engage in life with us and learn that you can get satisfaction and do things. Again, reopen that mind of yours. You know, like we drug users are just brilliant little people, brilliant little bastards, right? And re-engage, you know, because maybe maybe a light for them will turn on, and they're like, wow, if I can clean my stuff up, I can really do more with this, and I love doing this.
Yeah.
People forget what they like to do, you know?
They do.
And there's a lot of misconception about what the union is out there, isn't there, right?
There is, yeah. A lot of people think we're just sitting around shooting dope. I haven't used heroin in almost 9 years. Brian and I, through the years, discussed that you know, it was really awful that people thought we were the scum of the earth for doing what we wanted to do. And even though I don't use anymore, I don't shame anybody for using, and I don't encourage them to get to use either. But I'm not gonna get into somebody's way because they're using. I was just, when I go back and think of all the awful things that I was forced to go through and treated by people that would call themselves professionals in the field. I mean, there were some serious sadists out there that felt it was okay to treat you like a piece of shit not because we think you're a piece of shit, but because you think you're a piece of shit, and other things like that.
You know, and that actually, you know, some people have been supportive, and they get what we're trying to do and who we are, and have reached out to us. Some surprising people, honestly. Like, you know, I'd like to give a shout out and a thanks to Darlene Desmond, actually.
Amen.
Right?
Yeah.
Reached out to us. Yeah. We had a great meeting. You know, she doesn't believe or maybe support everything we do. I mean, we certainly don't believe or support everything she does. But we're trying to reach in the middle. We're trying to reach across, meet in the middle, right?
Yeah.
And get something productive out of all this for people.
She herself, a former addict who turned her life around to try to help other people. It's
yeah, right.
They probably saved lives even though drug court's awful, they still probably saved lives, many lives.
Yeah.
You know.
I would like to see some other people, you know, reach out to us. If you are out there and you have some kind of authority or power over somebody else because they're in drug court, right? If you think that they should not be involved with the drug users union because you automatically, we're just all using, whatever you think, reach out to me. I would be happy to talk to you. Reach out to my friend Tony here. He would be happy to talk to you. We are not trying to encourage anybody to use drugs. We are just meeting people where they're at and trying to get them to re-engage in life wherever, because maybe we just want people to have the best quality of life possible and get some satisfaction, and we're not going to put all the focus on drug use and no more drug use, right? Like, just come talk to us, you know?
Yeah, I work down at the shelter, St. John's Community Services. Come on down, say hello. We're going to be doing a group on Sundays from 6 to 7 for guys that have been locked up and feel like they need to talk about some things to depressurize and normalize their situations.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah. It's hard. People don't realize how hard it is to come out of prison and just be normal in society.
Mm-hmm.
From getting a cup of coffee to getting on the bus to new technology.
It's sad, isn't it?
It's tough.
Yeah. Especially, you know, people like locked up for victimless, nonviolent drug crimes.
Yeah, where they were dehumanized their whole way, you know,
Mm-hmm.
from the day they get there, when they get their head shaved and their entire body inspected and screamed and yelled at, and
Wow.
thrown in cages and not allowed to talk to their family, or, you know, every couple of days you can get a phone call maybe, or a shower. You have to make a choice.
I'm glad that you're there and that group's going to happen. That's a good place and a good thing for people to go to, and You know,
Got a lot of my homies out there have turned their lives around, and they did it because they saw that I was doing it and could do it possible. A guy that did more than half his life in prison told me that, and God bless you, Earl. I love you, brother.
Right on, right on. You know, speaking of helping people, you know, and humanizing people and getting them to, you know, reconnect in life. We have a guest today. Our guest is that person, and she's been in this fight for years, trying to help people, being there for people, not just trying, being there, you know. And you know, she's going to be coming on in a second.
Which is my cue to go. Thank you for having me here again today. Thanks for everybody for watching. Beth is great. I love her. She rocks it out down at Stab.
That's right.
She's going to come in here and I think talk a little bit about how landlords think they can treat people because they're drug addicts.
That's right.
Yeah, we're coming for you guys. All that money they get from DSS and they don't want to provide a parasite-free environment.
High five. Oh, high five. Hey.
Keep up the good fight, everybody.
All right. You know, it is a fight. This is a fight. Every time I see somebody being discharged from MAT when they're not supposed to, when their life is going great, infuriates me. That's a fight. We are coming, you know? Anyway, I am honored, and grateful to have our guest today. She is a woman who has worked at the Southern Tier AIDS Program, STAP, for many years. She's a program navigator, if you want to call it her official job title. But really, she has just been there for everybody in every kind of way over the years. And here she is, Miss Beth Pittman. Hey!
Hi!
Yay! I wonder sometimes. I see you working with these people and dealing with everybody at STAP, and like I wonder how you got into this. But you know what? Before we go on anymore, the reason I'm wearing these sunglasses today, everybody, right? These sunglasses are kind of an advertisement for PrEP, if you can see it. I don't know. PrEP, I don't know if you've heard about it, and PEP. These sunglasses and T-shirts that have been made to boost this are made by a guy Liam who works at STAP. I should have too. I got the sunglasses though. And I was. Can you? What are we talking about with PrEP and PEP? Can you explain that a little bit?
I can.
Yay.
So PrEP is a drug. It's a program where you can, if you're at risk for contracting HIV.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's through men who have sex with men or people who are injecting drugs, sharing needles with people who maybe they don't know their HIV status, or they're anonymous or having sex with anonymous partners.
Right.
You're at risk for contracting HIV because you don't know whether this person has the virus.
Right.
And so if you believe that you may be at risk, or putting yourself at risk regularly, you can get on PrEP. And it's a medication that you take once a day,
Mm-hmm.
and it's pretty much harmless. Usually when people start taking it, the side effects are maybe a little nausea, maybe tired for a week or two till your body gets used to it. And then it protects you from contracting HIV. It's like 98.9999 sure.
That's great.
And PEP is if you believe you've been exposed to HIV in any way, within 72 hours, preferably sooner, you can take PrEP. You can take the same medication which is given for PrEP. It's called Truvada. And you take it for 1 month, and it blocks the virus from getting into your system so that you hopefully don't.
I'm happy to put these sunglasses back on then, right? Yeah.
Put them on.
Yeah, put them on with pride.
Yeah,
I qualify for all that stuff. I'm right. So what I was gonna ask before, right, sooner, right? Like, how did you wind up like wanting this job? Like, why are you like like the stuff I see you helping with and dealing with, and it seems like you're always in good spirits, always there and ready to help people. Like, what got you into this? And you know, like, why do you? It seems like you have a strong belief about stuff. Like, what drives that? What's going on? What's going on with you, Beth?
What's going on? I don't know. The underserved population, the population who is always getting hit with stigma, the population who is beating themselves up constantly because society is beating them up. That's a person. Those are people I'm always drawn to, and I just want them to feel comfortable and human and viable and as just as normal as everybody else.
They deserve that, right?
Of course.
That's why I feel we were kind of just talking about that, you know? Just because someone is actively using drugs doesn't mean they shouldn't have the opportunity to engage in something meaningful and have the best quality of life possible like anybody else. Like, where are we coming up with some of this stuff that, you know, like some people, it's almost like they're not even human.
Yeah. Well,
right? Oh, we can just dismiss them because they're not doing this that we think is what they should be doing. You know?
Well, I work with people who use drugs, people who inject drugs all the time.
Wait, we're having technical difficulties.
Okay.
Dun, 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 dun. Here, you can put the camera back on me for a second.
Sorry, guys.
It's all right. You can
Cash.
sing.
Anyway, we're still talking so people can hear us,
Okay.
right? Oh, there we
Okay.
go. We're back. Yay!
Awesome. So, anyways, I've been working with people who inject drugs, people who use drugs for a long, long time, or well, for a while, anyways, and it's no different than working with anybody else. I mean, people are people. The amazingly creative, intelligent, compassionate human side of everybody is the same, and that's the people that I work with. You know, what they do is, I'm just trying to keep them safe with what they do. Everything else is just people, and they deserve respect, and they deserve love, and they deserve compassionate and understanding, and not to be treated like they're anything less.
You're so right, and I see you fighting that fight day after day, you know, and thank God you're there, and thank God
It doesn't feel like a fight. In there when I'm working with folks, it doesn't feel like a fight. Seeing what people are going through, seeing how people are treated, seeing how people are treated when they're trying to get through their life, that's the fight. But being with someone is just a thing.
I can see that, but right. What's this about then?
Okay, well,
this is a little bit of a fight, isn't it?
That is.
I'm kind of teasing with you, but
it is kind of a fight.
but do you want to explain what this is? Do you want me to?
So this paperwork that he's holding up here
Right.
is basically just a form that can be used.
There we go.
If you are living in substandard housing, regardless of how you got there, whether you're placed there through DSS or otherwise, if it's substandard and you're finding that there's blocked stairways, blocked fire escapes, mold, mildew, bed bugs, cockroaches, vermin, those things shouldn't be taken for granted, and they shouldn't be acceptable in any form. People need to live, and a lot of times our folks, because they aren't able to work, probably because they have to go to treatment every day, and probably because they have to go to all these other things they're mandated to go to, cannot go to work. Yeah. So they get placed in places through DSS where they have to, and they often feel they need to accept wherever they're placed. They don't, but many times those placements are unsafe. And
Right, so we want people to be abstinent, right? Like, you need to come to all these programs every day. Don't worry about work. Figure out something with your kid. You got to put them in daycare. I don't know. With what money? I don't know. You're not working, but you have to come to treatment first. Otherwise, you'll fail with all that stuff anyway, right? and here, and we're going to help you. We're going to give you housing, right? Like, if that's the carrot, if that's the reward for doing this stuff and remaining abstinent, right? And we're going to put you and your kid like in the place that you're talking about, and it's known, and no one's doing anything about it. Like, what are we asking of people here?
Well, a lot of times agencies feel as if they don't have a choice where they place people, because there are very few choices for low income housing in Ithaca. But we can't be accepting of poor housing conditions for anyone. And
out of control housing conditions.
And we have to make folks accountable for the housing that they're providing and receiving money for. And that's part of what this is all about. If you feel like you're living in a place that is substandard and has these issues, please just stop in, and I'll give you a form. This is for the city of Ithaca, but talk to us and we'll see what we can do.
Yeah. Listen, housing first. Housing is a top priority. You know, there's a like, you know, when we're talking about basically out of control housing, we're talking about like bed bugs being normalized.
Yeah.
Like, if anybody out there, does anybody out there want to live in a place where bed bugs is just an accepted thing, way of life, and cockroaches, blocked stairways, just filth? I mean, what? Come on. No one. If you don't want to live like that, then I don't think you should be accepting or think it's a status quo for other people to live like that, right? Yeah.
I've heard the arguments that people, well, you know, the people who move in have to take care of the place. And okay, at the same time, you move into a place that's full of bed bugs, you don't want to take care of that. A lot of the people say, I'd rather live in the jungle. I'd rather move out and live there. And so they're moving back to the tents, and it's just...
It's craziness.
It's crazy, and it's sad. And we need to, not just myself, work on this, but it has to come from the health department. It has to come from code enforcement. We all have to work together to make a difference and to set the expectation and set the bar a little higher so folks can live in a healthy environment, so they can get jobs, so they can have clean clothes, so they can feel safe, so they don't have to have the anxiety of having bugs crawling all over them at night.
So they want to re-engage in life, right?
Exactly.
I mean...
And they can't if they're...
And that's where that's what the using wants to do. We're not worried about drug use, but we're not encouraging it again. We are trying to re-engage with people at whatever level they're at to help them have the best quality of life they can have, right? So they want to re-engage in life, you know, hopefully. We are getting short on time. Wow. Time is flying here. We got a lot of great stuff to say. We got a minute to go. Is there anything you want to say? Like, anything you want to shout out?
Just harm reduction. If you need clean syringes, if you need someone to talk to about how to stay safe, don't be shy. Come to the SEP. We're not going to bite. We're not there to judge. We're not there to throw stigma at you. We're there to be there for you.
You know, if the treatment you're pursuing right now, is not working, come see us. Come talk to us. There are more than one treatment option available to people. Okay, there's not just abstinence, right? People like Beth, thank God, are here to try to help you on your way. You know. Anyway, we are winding up in time. I just thank you, Beth.
Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for coming in.
Okay.
You know, I hope that you want to come back and
return. You guys
return.
are doing a good job.
Thank you.
You guys are doing good work.
You know, I'm sorry you said you wanted a feather boa to come. That was the reward. I didn't get it, folks. I didn't get her the feather boa. You know, listen to me. Who am I? But anyway.
He left his home.
I have many feather boas. Oh. Anyway, once again, I want everybody to empower themselves, empower us all. Next week we're going to have Al Amfaro on, a social worker at STEP. You know, everybody get excited. Tune in. It's going to be a riot. You know, and August 24th in Binghamton, New York, Trail of Tears kind of protest march. Please come to STEP. We have transportation for people. It's going to be, well, a sad blast, but one that needs to be done, right? So once again, empower yourself, empower us all. I love this song.
It would do good with a boa.
Yeah, right? Yes, we can share a ball. Yep.
We could.
We don't have to be on the show, we
I
can
don't
share a
even
ball.
have one to share, Brian.
What? Aw.
You didn't give it to me.
It's not just about the show, okay? Quite all these autograph seekers, too.
I'm
You know?
sure.
Yeah, it's autograph seekers that have been hunting me down. You know, even Judge Wallace wanted an autograph. You know, I gave it to him.
Yeah.
You know.
Probably signing off your
I'm a
bank
man.
account.
I'm a man.
I forgot about the live thing. I was like, how did we do this last time?
Hey,
Now I remember.
see? How'd you think?
Are we done?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're
great.
good.
Happy with
Thank
that?
you. Yeah.
Cool. Are you going to encourage other people to come on?
Yeah.
For real?
Well, yeah.
Good.
I'll try to mess up next time.
Don't worry about it. That was fun. That was like maybe 20 seconds at the most.
Yeah. Oh,
Nice.
Mike.
Yeah, we gotta move that a little bit. 'Cause we got this. Good, Beth? Okay. Even it's hard to even get in and out of here. I know, I'm sorry. This thing is leaning up. You know that, right?
Is it? Yes. What do you mean it's leaning up?
If it's not on.
Oh, it's because the magazine's gone.
Is
Pay
the
attention.
is it leaning on the chair? Right here, Brian.
Oh, there. You're right. Yep.
Okay. It's
Okay,
good.
cool.
Brian, will you take this, please? Yeah, sorry, I fucked up.